Hello Internet and welcome back to my Sky Island playthrough. Now in the last episode we finished up our expedition, but things didn't go super well. First we explored a restaurant which was basically devoid of any loot, unfortunately, except for some lobster. I guess we got some lobster out of it. Then we turned our attention to a nearby retirement community, thinking of course it would have lots of medications that we could use for upgrades in the future. But unfortunately, as we progressed closer to that location, we found it was walled off. The entrance had quite a little group of zombies in front of it. None of the vehicles we found worked, and then by the time the sun had gone down and we were able to slip past them, we found everything was locked up tight. And because again, I forgot my acetylene torch, we weren't able to get inside. At that point, our expedition was coming to a close. We were running out of time. We unfortunately were overburdened as well, so we were losing our stamina, which I kept forgetting about. And we ended up finding an ocular zombie, which is something I really didn't want to deal with, so we just drew our handgun and put that thing down. And then as more zombies came to descend upon us, we just retreated to the exit. Upon arriving back on the Sky Island, we were told that we have experienced enough expeditions that we can finally level up, which is pretty interesting. And we have everything we need except for a jacking quality, which we're going to probably address in this episode. And with that long introduction out of the way, hello Internet, welcome back. So we unlocked this proof of determination, which is the upgrade to rank up, our basically, I guess, us or the island itself to be ranked up. And we have everything required except for the jacking quality. We can make a jack. Obviously, they're very lootable down on the ground level of the world, but unfortunately, for example, they take up, several liters of space. We probably would not remember to grab them, I think. So we're going to try to craft one, especially because it's nighttime now and we're not going to be going on another expedition. So I think if we have a look at jack, in fact, let's look at it from the quality perspective in case it's not listed as jack in the crafting menu. Like maybe there's something that has a jack in quality but doesn't have jack in its name. So we'll go Q:jack, and we have three, which are the scissor jack, makeshift jack, and bottle jack. Unfortunately, this one requires forging, which we never got around to setting up a forge, and we probably won't for quite some time. We still need a swage and die set as well, which is something I thought we found, but apparently not, and is required for quite a lot of recipes. However, we can make a makeshift jack, takes about 2 hours, requires pipes and scrap metal. We did just pick up 4 pipes to bring back in the last expedition, I believe. We have a minor failure chance. It's not going to raise our mechanics, unfortunately. I hoped maybe one of these would raise our mechanics. This one is yellow, which means we might fail it more frequently. 34% minor failure, which I believe means we don't lose any materials, takes 4 hours. Do you even level up if it's an other skill, or does it only level up your primary skill? It's been so long since I did anything like this. So I think we will just craft a makeshift jack, and let's get off our table to craft that because we don't want to stand on a table. We're not some kind of table standing savage of some sort. So we're gonna makeshift jack here, and yeah, that'll be that, I think. So we'll just do this. Man, the game's super laggy today. Every time I hit enter, it takes several seconds for it to actually respond to me, and you'll see it's lagging here at the top of the screen. We can see every 5% it's freezing up for us for a moment there. Very interesting. I can also hear my computer humming quite loudly, so I'm not sure what's going on with the game today, but it's not, I don't like it. Oh, we're back. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's an off day for me, and like in the last episode I tried to explain what's going on with me, and it just seemed like crazy rambling that didn't make any sense. So thanks to everyone who bears with me through those kind of days and moments. So we have the jack now, which means we can craft that. We are going to need our warp shards, which are upstairs. So let's have a look in the advanced inventory menu, search everything, and we'll search for warp. 3 warp shards. No, we definitely have more of them. We definitely have like 6 more somewhere, I thought. Maybe we don't, and we were... Did we really not? I really thought we had more. Like, I really thought we had more. I remember we crafted this stone, or no, the metal, the one that lets us spawn metal. So I know we crafted that, and that took a lot of our shards, but... And we haven't been doing missions. Like, honestly, we just really have not been doing any of the missions. So, okay. Well, regardless, that's still enough to craft what we were looking to craft. So let's craft this upgrade. Proof of determination. Why it's saying I don't have warp shards. Did I not pick them up? I thought I just picked them up. Okay, well, here's 7 of them. Why aren't they showing up in advanced inventory? Are they in something else? Oh, which, by the way, in the last episode, I couldn't find our magazines. I'm pretty sure they're here. They're just in a container of some kind, which is why we weren't able to see them in that one menu. So if we search for a magazine, no, it's not going to show in this menu either. I'm pretty sure they got stuck in a set of clothing, and that's why they're not being displayed properly, is that they're here. Because I checked the recording and we did bring them back to the Sky Island, and I had them in my inventory. When I dropped a bunch of stuff, they were still in our inventory. But then when I went down, I continued dropping things like bags and stuff. And then when I went down, they were no longer in my inventory. So they must be here in a container somewhere. I just have no idea. Okay, yeah, so they got put on the clothing pile because they're in one of these garments. Yeah, they're in the ballistic vest. So that's why we lost our magazines in a previous episode. So let's take all of those now and put them on the proper piles here. Because I was like, man, I know I didn't leave them down on the Sky Island, on the ground level, because that would have been like a huge priority for us to keep them in our inventory. I would have never dropped them. So yeah, they ended up getting dropped by clothing. We'll have to keep an eye out on that in the future. And let's go up and drop all this crap while we're here, because like we really don't need all this stuff in our inventory, and we should just let it filter down into our loot pile like everything else, you know, instead of being taking up all this space. So we'll drop all this, and then let's pick up the warp shards again, just to make sure they don't get lost in the shuffle. Pick up the material tokens for the same reason. In fact, there probably are more material tokens, yeah, laying around inside of other objects, and we don't want to lose all of those, so let's do that. And then we'll sort everything. Sort out my loot. Yeah, and my family today was like, they wanted me to weed whack, and they wanted me to help them change a tire, but I'm having like a super bad health day, and I didn't want to tell them. I don't want to worry them and be like, hey, yeah, actually I'm like super dizzy and I feel like I'm gonna fall down, and every time I stand up I feel like I'm gonna fall over and I'm having some trouble walking, and like I didn't want to tell them all that because I don't want to worry them, but I also really don't want to go outside in the heat and try to change a tire or weed whack and, you know, all that stuff. So it's a weird day for sure today, and I'm not having a great time. But okay, so we want the proof of determination, which is going to give us our upgrade. So let's craft that immediately and get that out of the way here. Again, just a laggy game today. You have proven your ability to survive the island, to the warp stream, and to yourself. I've proved to the warp stream and to myself that I have that ability. Gotcha. More unlockable upgrades will be available as you progress, and you may experience exits and targets in new locations. Your mind expands. You have learned to craft, materialize, random artifact, vortex token, warped hauler's car. So we already had all of those previously, actually, which I assume is because we started the game before we had those possible upgrades. Because remember, the mod got reworked like a week into us playing. So we had the ability to craft that like animal carrier, for example, this whole time. But I'm assuming we weren't supposed to, and we only did because we started the game prior to that update. So unfortunately, those upgrades are not actually going to do much for us. But let's check the statue. There might be other upgrades, like big main upgrades. Yeah, so we can unlock large expeditions, which we really want to do. We want to have longer expeditions. With some success under your belt, you feel ready to tackle more ambitious expeditions, and the island seems to know it. You will be able to select large expeditions when leaving via the obelisk. Large expeditions last twice as long, so 4-hour expeditions, but mission targets and exit points are significantly further away. And then we have the rooftop starting location, which we haven't even unlocked the basements yet. If basements aren't cutting it, yeah, we haven't even found half of the stuff we need for the basement upgrade, unfortunately. They require a ton of stuff we have not seen. There's always rooftops. Starting one floor up will give you a good vantage and relative safety from the busy streets, while still ensuring that you begin your expedition in a town or a city. Be able to select random rooftop starts when leaving via the warp obelisk. In case you need to make a quick descent, bear in mind that the warp cloak effect you have briefly at the start of each expedition prevents fall damage. I did not know that. That's super interesting. That's a cool effect. I had no idea that negated fall damage. We can unlock harder missions. You understand statues calling out for something that can strengthen its power. New and more challenging types of missions are available to be randomly assigned in every expedition. Harder missions will reward many more warp shards. Yeah, I can barely do the ones you've assigned, but sure, well, hopefully we can do that in the future. So we did that. Construction, main room 3. So now we have the third central room upgrade available to us. Central room's a good start, but it could be bigger. Time to get to work. Main room 3, expand the central room to very generous dimensions. Sure. And then, do you have any other services? It now costs 4 warp shards to heal, which is more than we make on the average mission, so we are going to be healing manually probably a lot in the future. We can shut down portal storms, we don't need any of this. We can view our expedition stats. We've completed 10, which is why we unlocked the ability to rank up in the first place. Warp sickness is 8 pulses, which for us again is about a 2-hour expedition. So that's good. Anything else before we go? Services, questions, construct? No, we did all that. So let's have a look at what our possible upgrades are going to require. The Ordinator's Sigil requires a tool with pistol of 1 or more. What does that mean? And it requires a baseball bat, which thankfully we have. Bandages we can get very easily. We probably have 10 and we just don't have them on our person. Liquid bandage, I don't think I've ever seen that in the game, let alone, have it on our person. And then 9mm, which we have a ton of downstairs, so that should be an easy craft. The only real limit there is that it's, number 1, it's going to take away our baseball bat, which we don't necessarily want. But number 2, we're going to need those liquid bandages, and we're going to need to find more warp shards. And that's for harder missions. Okay, rooftop is going to require just an enormous number of bird eggs, which I don't know if they'll count if they're rotten, so that should probably be the last thing that we gather. A retractable telescope, I don't think we can craft one. I have no idea where you find one of those. Golf tee seems pretty easy. I assume you can just find them somewhere. A golf ball, camp chair. I'm wondering if these are on rooftops and that's why they're being selected as possible components here. Like maybe if we explored more rooftops in the game, like I assume there must be like a special rooftop variant that has like a golfing setup, like a golf tee, golf ball, and some of the stuff it's mentioning here. So I'm wondering if we should be exploring rooftops more. Because remember the basement one, in order to unlock the basement starts, we need to get items that are typically found in those basements. So that makes sense to me. Scouting scope, we already, we don't really, we'll get to this eventually. A warped hourglass. This is the one that lets us do longer expeditions. We're going to need a gas mask. I don't know if we have one. We might. We're going to need regular backpacks or leather backpacks. They're actually a little hard to find because there are so many packs in the game and finding the basic ones are not that common. I mean, they are common, but it's like you are just as likely to find like a military rucksack or a hiking backpack or etc. And they can't be used here, unfortunately, for some reason. Granola, I think we actually have granola, and then mineral water. I have no idea where you get mineral water specifically, so sure, whatever. Warped reinforcement, we need wooden beams, metal, sheet metal, steel frames, headlamps. I think we have one headlamp. I'm not sure. I think they're craftable as well. Steel or hard plating, car batteries. Yeah, so unfortunately a lot of this is going to be stuff we would want to harvest from vehicles. It might be better to wait on that until after we do the longer mission one, and then we can harvest vehicles more reliably since we'll have more time. But yeah, okay, well that's cool. We have so many new things that we can possibly upgrade, so many new items to find, and since it's evening, we're just gonna relax in the base and do a little skill grinding until bedtime basically. Okay, so what should we work on? Well, probably mechanics. Right at this point, we raised fab and survival to level 4. Very reasonable. Those are like, that's good enough for a huge amount of recipes. We're not going to necessarily need higher skills right this second. Electronics, that's something we're going to need down the line, but not super relevant right this second. Food handling can go to hell. We're never gonna use food handling for anything. I hear something. What do I hear? I guess someone's weed whacking far away. Or mowing far away. I just faintly hear it. Tailoring, we don't really need to keep raising tailoring. Applied science, that's a late game thing where we might not even ever use it. So mechanics seems like the natural choice here for us to grind. We should have mechanics books that'll at least take us to level 3 and speed up that process considerably. What else do we even have? No, social we don't care. Healthcare we do want to raise, but it's not like a super priority. That'll be grinding up as we treat our wounds in the coming episodes. In fact, we can do that now because I will forget before we go to bed. We are slightly dinged up here, so we might as well apply some bandages. And we did look previously, remember we couldn't find the ability to craft bandages because they required 9 at a time, I believe now, and we didn't have enough cotton sheets to really make that work. Or no, I'm sorry, it was the boiled that require 9 at a time. Boiled makeshift bandage can be only made 9 at a time, and we didn't have enough cotton sheets to make 9 makeshift bandages, so you'll see there we only have 6. So we can do that while I'm thinking about it. It's not enough to raise our healthcare to 2, I don't think, but let's make a batch of just makeshift bandages, I guess. Makeshift bandage, what's the difference? One is cutting, one is not, and one makes slightly more if we cut them up. That's fine. So let's just make one batch of these, and we will use, I don't know, the patchwork sheet is fine. Remember, we just brought back sheets specifically to harvest for sheets, so we're, it's not like we're gonna run out of these things. And we'll do boiled. Oh wait, we don't have water. Okay, we forgot to get water. Yeah. We have clean water. I guess we can just spend the clean water on it. That's fine. So let's start a fire. So we have a fire source. Then we'll make some boiled makeshift bandages. We're just going to do one batch of these, and it's probably not going to raise our first... Oh, it did raise our first aid to level 2. What to do with clean water? Why would... If I boil bandages... If I boil cotton inside of clean water, it shouldn't produce clean water at the end, right? That's a bit odd. So we'll drink that later. Disgusting water later. And we'll just put that with this in the canteen, I guess. That's fine. And then we can extinguish the fire because it will get super hot in here. And now we have boiled makeshift bandages. So we're not, and we have first aid level 2, which is great. Or not first aid, what's it called now? I've already forgotten. Healthcare level 2, which is fine. Bandaging our wounds is actually going to be like on the lower side of actually giving us skill gains, because it's going to be a very low percentage increase, if any, when we bandage our wounds. But let's bandage our wounds. Let's step away from this huge pile of stuff so that we can actually see what we're working with. We will grab the makeshift bandages. We'll head down here, activate the makeshift bandages, and we will treat our couple little dings on our arms here. Our torso probably won't fully heal overnight. Not really concerned about it, so that's not a big deal. Let's compare the bandages with the regular bandages, because we need the pre-cataclysm manufactured bandages for a craft, but we don't need to take them with us. We could potentially swap these out for the makeshift bandages and get a very similar quality when we're treating ourselves down to stop bleeding or whatever. God, I can't formulate my sentence into what I'm trying to say. But anyway, basically we can swap the makeshift for the bandages in our inventory is what I was trying to say. So the base bandaging quality is good versus average, average versus average, good effect on bleeding versus moderate effect on bleeding. Actual effect is perfect versus very good. I don't know how much of a distinction this actually is. And then for the purposes of treating wounds, I haven't checked in a long time, but I believe it was something like boiled makeshift are 0.2 bandaging power and regular ones are like 0.3 bandaging power. So it's not a huge difference, like 50% difference in the amount of bandaging in terms of how much you'll heal overnight. So, and remember, the bandaging isn't even the part that contributes the most HP recovery. It's like the antiseptic and that kind of like major treatments that do a lot more for you. So I don't think that's super important at the moment. Let's drop our shards and let's drop our material tokens so that they are out of the way and they're not going to get shoved into clothing and things like that and get lost, which we really don't want. And our inventory looks pretty clean. We treated our wounds. We have 7 of leftover instead of 9. So let's drop the good pre-cataclysm manufactured bandages, and apparently we have adhesive bandages in our inventory as well. Not sure why. I never use them. Even for minor bleeding, I would just use a regular bandage in a lot of cases, if anything. So I guess we will focus on mechanics. Let's pop on our earbuds, play music, and yeah, I don't know what to craft here for mechanics. Let's just read. We should read a book for mechanics until we get to level like 2 for theoretical. So let's have a look for mechanics. I know we have one. I was gonna say we have at least under the hood somewhere. So we have a mechanics skill level to 3, takes 16 minutes per chapter. That's what we're gonna be doing. Why don't we read these other books while we're here to get access to their recipes. Day trading for a living gives you just social skill, no recipes. Looks like pop mechanics again is a mechanics book, but it's gonna be slower than under the hood, I believe. Can create a firearm repair kit, pipe cleaner, hand crank charger. Okay, probably not gonna use use any of those. Maybe in the past I would have tried to make a hand crank or charger, but we have the charging station thing. So, and then the Fletcher's Friend, of course, comes with lots of fletching recipes, specifically ammo for because you don't fletch a bow per se, you fletch an arrow because an arrow has fletching. I think that's where the term comes from, but don't quote me on that. I guess in RuneScape you fletch bows, right? It's still the fletching skill. I have no idea. Anyway, so now we have Under the Hood and we have the mechanical whatever we just looked at, but the Under the Hood is going to be a faster read chapter wise, and in fact we need a higher mechanic skill to read a lot of these books, so we'll just read the one that we're going to look. So we were going to read, so let's read Under the Hood. We do have our earbuds in, so that should help with our reading a bit, and I suspect we'll be tired enough for bed here shortly. Oh yeah, I just don't have anything going on today. I feel out of it. I was going to go to the store, but then I started thinking about how many people were at the store, and then I kind of talked myself out of it. I have been working on my novel. If some of you may remember, I wrote a novel last year for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, in November last year. Finished the book in December, and then decided I would edit it, and then didn't touch it for months now. It's been like 6 months. So I decided I was going to make an effort to do that. In fact, I did something pretty cool. I took the first draft, which I only edited like the first 3 chapters, so it's kind of a mess. The book is really not good at the moment, to be perfectly honest. Unfortunately, it's 6 a.m., so we're going to have some trouble when we sleep. We're not going to be going on expeditions again today, probably, because it'll be too dark, because we're probably going to sleep till like 4 p.m. Before we go to bed, let's have a snack, and I guess you shouldn't do that in real life. You shouldn't snack before you go to bed, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little snack, and by a little snack, I mean we're going to eat this lobster platter. We're going to eat an entire lobster platter before bed. Absolutely just typical American snack, midnight snack. And we're going to have something to drink here. We're going to bed, so morale doesn't matter, so let's chug some cranberry juice. And then let's pop a multivitamin, and then we'll call it a day. Vitamin. We're running out of vitamins. Definitely should keep an eye out for more of those, I guess, but now let's go to bed. And do we need anything before we go to bed? No, we're good. Let's go to bed. We should fully heal, actually. Looking at our HP right now, we should fully heal overnight. Yeah, I did something cool. So I took the entire first draft that I wrote, which is really rough and pretty terrible. First 3 chapters are great because they're the ones I edited. I really like them. Everything else, really bad in that novel. But I took it all and I used AI text-to-speech to convert it to an audio file, basically for like an audio file per chapter. And then because I drive for a living, I have been listening to my own book overnight while I'm driving in the car. I actually have like 1 chapter left. It's way too short. I have to really work on. Some of the chapters are ludicrously short. Really needs to be fixed up a little bit, but yeah, I thought that was really fun. Actually, it made me want to write again because I was like, I wrote this, and it just sounds different coming from someone else, like when they're reading it out loud. And admittedly, it's like AI text to speech, so it's pretty jank, but it sounds a lot more realistic than like the old-fashioned text to speech. And just hearing my own book come out of someone else's mouth, so to speak, is like, it's weirdly so satisfying. I would encourage you, like if you're reading it or listening to this and you're a writer, give that a shot because it's like strangely satisfying to hear someone else read your book out loud, even though it's not really a person, right? Okay, so it's 2 in the afternoon. 3 in the afternoon. So I guess we will just go on an expedition. We need a lot more stuff now that we have all these upgrades. We know that we need a lot more, a whole bunch of different items. There's really nothing we would craft raise in the base anyway. We would just do more mechanics stuff. So let's drop that mechanics book as well. We don't want to like take that down and lose it because we don't have a duplicate at this point. So, or do we just want to stay and raise our mechanics skill? It's only day 6. It's only day 6, so it's not like we're gonna get murdered or anything if we put off for a day. None of the enemies are going to get super dangerous in one day. I'm not sure, but I'll be honest, I'm not feeling super well. I know this is going to be a short video, but we're going to call the episode here. Just feeling a little under the weather, as I mentioned previously. So we're going to call it here. For now, I guess that's it. And we'll figure out in the next episode if we're going to go on an expedition or just skill train a bit. But for now, everyone, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I, of course, will be back in the near future with more content. I'll see you next time.